Yo, what's up, dude? Check out the new axe. I think some of you have seen this before. I used it in the live show, which I think I'm going to do another one real soon. So stay tuned for that. But I want to come on and do a quick vid about the Charvel San Dimas. This is your typical sort of 80s super strat. Charvel, as you know, was a company that was owned by Wayne Charvel and then sold to Grover Jackson, and then sort of milled around a whole bunch of places and wound up at Fender. And Fender owns this headstock. So they were able to reissue, because back in those days, they had first used the Fender headstock. So same with Kramer. Kramer just used the Fender headstock, and Fender came a knocking and said, no. And so now that Fender owns them, they can actually use the headstock, and they stick it on a nice compound radius neck with the single piece neck. There's no separate fingerboard, in other words. It's not a separate lead, which is why it needs the skunk stripe in the back, right, to get the truss rod in there. It's an alder body with a flame maple top, but the top is just a veneer. You know, it's not a cap, and it's got a plain Floyd Rose, but I believe this is the sort of the that sort of like unknown Korean one, right? It's that like the 1000. So it says Floyd Rose, but it doesn't say like Floyd Rose Special or any of that stuff. And it looks like the Floyd Rose, but it's still a steel and zinc mix instead of all steel. But it's heavy duty and certainly stays in tune just fine. The pickups are Seymour Duncan. You've got a JB Trembucker in the bridge, and a 59 in the neck. And one of my other guitars has a couple of 59s in it. I'm really liking the 59s. They're similar to a JB, but brighter, right? It's definitely a touch brighter, I find, than the straight up JB. JB seems to be a little warmer, a little bit more of a mid bush. Charvel tuners, I don't know who makes them. And then a little disclaimer on the back that Fender owns that trademarked headstock, and even though we're letting Charvel use it, it's because we own Charvel, and we're not like abandoning our trademark on this shape. So don't get any fancy ideas. We're Fender, goddammit. So these they're made in Mexico. There's a Mexican one. So the original series came out in 2007, 2008. They finally did the reissue, and maybe it was 2009. I'm not really a Charvel historian. I couldn't really tell you exactly when it came out, but they were sort of like reissued in the U.S. for a little while, and I did a video on a couple of them years ago that people still watch, the popular one. And then they moved production to Japan, and then ultimately they moved, and they definitely felt a little different because Bobby had both. He had the U.S. Charvel, the blue one and the red one, and then he had the Japanese one. And just comparing the two, I like the USA ones a little better. But he almost sold me one of the USA ones, and he kind of had a problem with the pickups. One of the pickups just sounded a little off, or there's a little weirdness going on with that. Sort of hummed a little bit. I don't know. It's like some problem, so I wound up passing on it. But it was a nice guitar, but at the time, between the problems and it wasn't under $300, that's for sure. Neither was this, but it was under $500. These sell for like $8.99. I think they carry like a $10.99 list. They sell them for like $8.99 retail with a bag. And I got this for $4.99. So normally I see these out there on a pretty regular basis like $5.99, $6.49 in the used. I mean, maybe $6.99, but even that's starting to push it. You're not getting a real discount over new. That's why I laugh when I see people on Craigslist and they're like, paid $6.99, want $6.59. It's like brand new. It's like, dude, you just don't get it. Not gonna happen. So this was $4.99, and of course it came with the bag and everything. At first they forgot the bag, and then they had trouble finding the bag, and then they wound up just sending me like a top of the line brand new Fender bag because they didn't have one with Charvel on it. And I was like, that's cool, whatever. But still, it's a really good price for this particular guitar. It's hard to get them under $500. They're usually, I see 2 or 3 of them out there at any one time for $5.99 and $6.49 all the time. Once you get down to about $5.99, you don't see them much cheaper. So when I saw this, and again, they had it listed wrong. They had it listed as a SoCal, which should be the same money. The SoCal is really the same money as the San Dimas. I have no idea why they were listing it for less money, as a SoCal versus a San Dimas. The SoCal is similar, except it has a pick guard. I mean, really, that's about it. And this, with the maple top, because it's clear and it's a little bit more to the finish, these actually go for $100 more than the solid color. $50 to $100 more, depending on the discount off of retail, off of MSRP. And that's up to the dealer. There's probably a minimum advertised price, but that only applies to new, obviously not used. So, I had been looking for a Charvel, and then when I saw this, I called up. They didn't have the pickup yet, but they had the SoCal up, and they said it was in Blackburst, and I was like, that doesn't make sense. I don't know of a Blackburst. And it took me a little while to figure it out, but once I figured it out, and I figured out it was this guitar, and it was a little bit nicer, and it was like really cheap, and I jumped right on it, because again, it's sort of out of the realm. There's a great saying, right? As long as you can buy it for less than you can sell it, less or equal to what you could sell it for the next day for, right? That's you can move it instantly because the price is really good. That's when to buy. So, if you can. So we can check it out a little bit here. At one knob, and then here's the neck. Cleaner sound if you want to hear the pretty good. It's both pickups. Stronger the output. Much lower output. I can just see it on the meter. Try something maybe a little bit. also wish I could get a coil tab. It would seem easy just to put that feature in, and then you'd have a much more, a much wider, a palette to choose from. Major, minor, it's all the same. All right, dudes. Well, that's it. Just a little bit on the SoCal. No, not SoCal. On the San Dimas. The irony is that they were never in San Dimas. They're like in the town next door. But San Dimas just sounded cooler. So they went with that one. We'll come up. We'll take a little closer look at it here. Oh, yeah. You're going to finish? You can see how much of that finish you can see. Very good. And then, of course, the back is just plain. I do like that top. All right, guys. As always, rock on.